So here I am reporting for duty, recording my faith journey for you, my children, for you, my friends, my enemies, whoever you might be. The faith journey is to be recorded. You know, a lot of times I get the impression that I am mirroring the life of Samson in the Old Testament. You know, loved a woman, gave up his secrets, gave up his intimate relationship with God to a woman who then used that to betray him. He was sold into slavery and completed his mission in the end in spite of himself. It's like God took his failings and made that a part of his journey. So it all worked out in the end, of course, but of course Samson died. Everybody dies, but Samson died in a horrible way while completing his mission. Although, I mean, granted, I'm not in this situation that I'm in because emotionally I am in this situation because of not just because of what women have done to me. I'm not a victim because of how I interact, how I responded, how I reacted. But I basically did the same thing that Samson did. I mean, so financially, I'm in this situation because my society has gone fucking rogue, just like the rest of the world since 2020, and has put me in an impossible strait, along with a lot of other people for not going along to get along. But emotionally, you know, my purpose for life has been badly compromised by my my love life. My love life is for a love poet for for a love poet. My God, I'm without love. uh, and really, my entire journey has been a loveless journey, a loveless, unrequited journey, yearning for a response. My poetry has been an echo seeking a shadow to dance with. Somebody said that last century or more. Basically, that's what my poetry is, basically an echo seeking a shadow to dance with. And here I am echoing the echo with these videos. Now I'm an echo of an echo, seeking a shadow of a shadow to dance with. Does that work? I don't know. Maybe it works. Uh, at least I have figured out the God part of the equation, the Christ consciousness part of the equation. I figured that out, fundamentally figured that out, right? I personally, like the rest, like everybody, I mean, I'm not really that keen on God. I'm not really that keen on Jesus. I'm not that keen on the spiritual path. I mean, it's what is the spiritual path? I mean, it's largely imaginary in that it takes place within the imagination. That's the seat of the exchange. It's in reason as well. It's internal. It's invisible. It's the arcane uh, invisible is what it is. And like it's all internally focused. There's no external focus to it. The external focus of that is the love relationship that a man can have with a woman. That's the primary external representation and validation of that internal world. And quite, I mean, just like the rest of us, I mean, I prefer the external to the internal. The internal is is a footnote. The internal is just largely a footnote to being in that condition with a woman that lo- loves you and you love her. And that has basically been my pursuit. I got it out of order. I made an idol. So I like everybody, because everybody does it, right? Like I just wanted the external, and I made God the footnote of the external. And it's very difficult to switch that around and to realize that the order of importance is in the opposite direction. It's still impossible for me to feel it. Like it just doesn't feel right. It doesn't make sense that this invisible whatever, like that's the focus. That's what you've got to focus on. That's more important than the external, because it just doesn't seem reasonable. Not only does it not seem reasonable, it doesn't feel reasonable. God can't put his hands on you except through another, through the beloved. God acts through people. He doesn't, so lots of lonely nights, lots of lonely nights, and the pain of the loss of my beloved in the external world forces me to depend on God consciousness as a consolation. It should be the other way around. Like the consolation of not being near God is to have a beloved, but that's just that's just idealistic, because the reality is far from that. I'm not an invisible creature. I'm a visible creature, and I'm given to the visible world. And because of that, my priorities are constantly suggesting uh, an order, an order of the universe that is in error. But I mean, everything within me wants that error to be true. And this is a grand error on my part, because of course, like, so there's the woman, the romance, and then this intermediate thing between God, between the invisible and the visible, which is my art form. This is this intermediate where it's material and immaterial at the same time, and so when I have a woman to love and adore and worship, that thing exists. And when she leaves, betrays, abandons, that intermediate thing still exists. It's still there. So when I'm with God, that thing exists. When I'm with a woman, that thing still exists. And that intermediate thing uh, has been my bane and my blessing at the same time, because for you can look at the other videos and know and understand what I'm talking about. So and how many years have I spent? How many years have I spent in this situation? So many, and yet this one. I mean, the complexity of it is absurd. My complexity just. I can't even. I don't even know what to pray. Lord, what do I pray? Oh Lord, do I do I pray for my, so I guess I have to use like, so let's use fake names. So let's go with Jenny, Cheryl, and Trish. How's that? Okay, in that order. So there was Jenny, then there was Cheryl, then there was Trish. Cheryl being uh, my spouse of recent days, who, in her dissatisfaction with her life, uh, left, abandoned me 4 months ago. And then Trish shows up. So when Cheryl left me, I was, I mean, the wound was so bad and still is so bad that I can't even like think of her. I can't remember her face. The trauma is so bad. I can't remember what she looks like. It's very difficult for me to feel anything because I, I loved her so entirely, so completely, with such abandon that the shock of it just leaves me cold. Like, I guess denial, numbness. I don't know whatever the heck you want to call it. So then Trish, so I'm praying, I'm like, of course, when she goes, that just casts me into the invisible world where I'm just drowning in my own blood, praying for help from God, God intervene, God help me, just give me a sign, blah, 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 right? And then a month into that, through my poetry, through this intermediate thing, through my poetry, Trish shows up, and I can't just like grab onto any woman. It just doesn't work that way. From there has to be a true connection, a true spark. And I thought there was like a true connection, a true spark. And like for about a month and a half, it just seemed like God had seen my suffering. God had seen my suffering and was going to comfort me and console me, uh, move me on. Like, so I was, I'm struggling. Like, Lord, should I pray that? What should I pray? I want Cheryl to return to me. I want Cheryl to come back. Like, I was so imperfect in that relationship with Cheryl. I was so imperfect. I just acted so badly in so many ways. And sure, she provoked and she cajoled and blah blah blah. Lots of, like, she had her issues. Who doesn't have it? But she had really really, you know, she would just provoke me, like, and not stop and blah blah. But I took the bait. I took the bait. I behaved monstrously. Although I would also, as I would see myself behaving monstrously, emotionally and argumentatively and defensively, and distancing myself, I would, as I would understand it, the Holy Spirit would speak to me, convict me, and I would confess my sins, and I would and I was changing my behavior, right? Like, in spite of whatever her issues were, I was dealing with my issues, and I was amending my ways. I was showing her that I was capable of doing that when she when she abandoned the field. And it was shocking. It's still to this day. And so, so I'm praying, Lord, please restore this relationship. Please, Lord, I want to make amends to this woman. I want the chance to do right by this woman, not just in the ways that I did do right by her, and I did do right by her in some really big ways. The ways in which I failed to do right by her, I wanted the opportunity to do right by this woman forever and ever. Amen. So I'm praying that way, and the Lord brings this out of the blue, completely unexpected sign, unexpected person into my life, whom just through dialogue, just through getting to know each other, at first it just seemed like we were talking poetry and similar interests, and there was this just a natural flowing connection that occurred between the two of us, natural as water flowing downhill. And then Trish began to distance. She began to not appear in the manner in which she was appearing, slowly, and absented herself more and more, and then her impediments, her sort of big ticket impediments in her personality began to appear and complicate the natural obstacles that lay between us because of the distance. So those things began to show up. But they didn't shipwreck me in any way whatsoever. And I was, because of what I had experienced with Cheryl, I did not get provoked. I did not get lured into traps of emotional chaos, complicating the matters, but with my own matters. That was all done. It was all done. I showed up. The work was done. The work was complete. But she just vanished. She just vanished. And then I'm here now, and then, through external circumstances, after 4 months, Cheryl made some initial contact with me. Not that it means anything other than what it is. She's still with another man. So here I am again, very confused as to what the fuck do I pray? What do I pray? What do I pray for? Lord, restore, give me a chance to amend what I did not get right with Cheryl. Lord, please, Lord, let me finish what you started, what I started. How can I pray that? I'm not sure. How do I pray that when she's with another man? I'm fucking confused. Or, like, God is, and on top of that, like, God is giving me these, like, bizarre signs. Like, I'm just so confused by that. Like, how do I interpret the signs? So, or do I pray, Lord, complete, like, wake up Trish, or remind Trish of what her and I, the connection that we felt in the beginning, or maybe that connection was fake. I don't know. Like, there's a number of ways to interpret uh, behavior. Like with Trish, for example, maybe she didn't feel what I felt. Maybe she was just Maybe I was just a safe place to land, a bridge over troubled waters while she got her ducks in a row and moved on. Like, that's a possibility. I don't know. I can't read people's hearts. And maybe Trish just saw me as you know, a a temporary consolate, temporary comfort, a temporary distraction from the hardness of her life. I don't know. There's so many different ways to interpret behavior. And all I can do is just like leave it, interpret the behavior as benevolently as possible, and focus on what I don't want to focus on, which is God, this invisible world that does provide incredible peace and comfort if if you insist on it. But my prayers are, what do I pray for? I've shown the Lord that I'm willing to do, I'm willing to do whatever, like, do you want me, what is it that you want of me? If you want me to to pray for reconciliation with Cheryl, eventual reconciliation with Cheryl, I will do that. I will go through whatever is necessary to go through to win her trust, however long it takes to win her trust, so that I can then continue to amend myself and to serve her in such a way that she needs to be served so that she can know love. I'm willing to do that. Or, say the same things with Trish, or with Trish, the same thing, the same prayer. Lord, is that the path? Has the bridge between Cheryl and I been so burned, so destroyed, that I should abandon that and pray for and wait for uh, Trish to, you know, should I do that? Or the other possibility, the worst possibility for me, or maybe the best possibility, is neither. I'm alone. There's nothing. There's no one. They have both gone their own way. They have both chosen something other than love with me. They have their sheaf of poems. And thank you very much. That's good enough. I don't mean that much to them as they mean to me, as they once meant to me. Uh, and I'm sitting here in my emotions, making shit up, just making shit up. Why? Because that's my weakness, like Samson. I mean, Trish is gone. She's gone. She's just gone. Like, and I know she's gone because when Cheryl reached out to me, needing to tell me some things about what's going on in the family, when Cheryl reached out to me, um, it was such a relief to it was such a fucking relief. It's like when Cheryl left and Trish reached out to me, it was such a relief just to be validated by a woman, not just any woman, but a woman that I felt went after my heart and my soul and my spirit, my mind. Such a relief. It, And here I am 4 months later, just 4 months later, and the roles are reversed. Cheryl reaches out to me to tell me about things that are going on. And it's such a relief, such a relief. I'm relieved to actually have a woman that I have history with and care for so deeply, and have a sense of responsibility and obligation toward the 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 suggestion that that may be the path is such a relief because of the neglect I've been subject to lately from Trish. It's just crazy. I can't keep up. I just can't keep up. And yet neither of them neither of them are they're gone. Both of them really. In the reality, they're not here. They're living their lives without me. They probably don't even think of me all that much. They probably just don't. And here I am, fucking, with the poetry, crying my heart on my sleeve, crying my eyes out for what? For you know, waiting for God to give me a sign about something that may not even matter. I don't know. Like, that's how fucked up my life is. And meanwhile, I have to, like, I'm gutted, emotionally gutted, just demoralized. And I have to find a way to get through just to get through the day, let alone organize myself enough to feel good and confident in my abilities. And I'm like, my confidence is destroyed. My belief in myself is destroyed. And yet I have to find a way to pick myself up off the ground and get on with it. Well, I can't. Like, God has to rebuild me, just like he had, with Samson. Like, his hair had to grow again before he could get his strength back. I'm basically in my hair. It's going to be quite the task. I have to wait now. Until my strength returns, my confidence returns, so that I can move on and get on with it. So it's just it's what the hell? What the hell? Like, what is going on? What kind of pit have I fallen into? And yet, in this pit, I have learned, or I'm learning. The only thing you can do is trust God, trust Christ. That's it. And to continue to write, to make the art from that perspective, the perspective of trusting implicitly in Christ, and, like, let him know whatever path you want me to follow, I'll follow. And not to cling to my preferences. I have preferences, sure. But not to cling to those preferences, but to keep my hands open, and to the whole thing, whatever this is, it's in your hands. I can't even sort it. I don't even know what the fuck I'm looking at. Pardon my language. Like, I don't even know. Any way that I look is just impossible. It's just impossible. It's impossible. The impossibilities are so endless. So but at least from this perspective of trusting, like, I just trust you, God, trust you, Christ. I'm in this place of catastrophic financial ruin, not from them, but from what happened and my refusal to participate in 2020, but emotional, romantic ruin. From this place to just cling and trust, as difficult as every day is, just so painful, so difficult. But from this place, writing the poetry so that it has an end chapter. It has, so from that, it's like the Bible can only be interpreted once you know the ending, which is the incarnation of Christ. Once you know the incarnation of Christ, now you can go back and read the Bible and understand it. Uh, and hopefully that's what, at least by getting to this place where I'm not an idolater. I haven't put the vision ahead of the visionary. I'm not putting my my passionate intensity to have a, a high romance with a woman that I truly love ahead of, like, ahead of Christ consciousness. So I've got my ducks in a row approximately, and so by now maintaining the right order of things, and writing from that perspective, hopefully that will be the filter that can be used to then read that back into the past, into the work, and the work can then be interpreted and used as a tool for my readers to do likewise, to learn to order themselves and order their relationships in a manner that produces life and doesn't produce ruin and heartache, or at least gives them, informs their ruin and heartache in a way that gives them life, liberty, purpose,